Yeah, I might have messed up. So as you can see, the 3D print housing hasn't been done yet, but you're getting this video now because I'm not going to get to it for a couple of months. I have a buddy of mine who wants to do it, but we're going to get you guys as much of the Vita XL video as I can because all the pieces are in, and it does work. So fully functional, but not functional is not useful yet. So for those of you who haven't seen our previous video, I worked on a Vita XL, which is using a 7-inch screen from Amazon, a CRKD Nitro Deck controller that's normally meant for a Nintendo Switch, and we've used a Mayflash adapter to let it communicate with a PS TV, which is what's running the internals of this whole thing. So let's get into it. So essentially the Vita XL is a PS TV shoved into a holder that was inspired by my mate Vince. Again, the link will be in the description. He made one of these with a 2008 controller called the, oh my goodness, the Lynx Xbox controller, which had 2 controllers on the side and a screen down in the middle. But the design hasn't been updated since. And there's another one called the DekaVita that's about $500, and it was a short run in Japan. That's way better than what I've made here, but this all works. It can run original hardware. I can load Adrenaline onto this thing. So let's get into how I made this, and hopefully you guys will have some ideas of how you're going to make yours. So I'm just going to show you the screen right now. This is probably the thing I spent way too much money on, but it's an IPS screen from Amazon that's by a company called Peakdo. And this thing is beautiful. It's crisp. This is the best I've ever seen the Vita look. And if you want something amazing, that's probably what I would go for. So I'm going to start unplugging things. So say goodbye and let's get into what makes this tick. So first and foremost, I've just put this tablet inside of the CRKD. I put a little tab on the bottom to keep the screen from scraping against the USB-C because I do still want to use this for my Nintendo Switch whenever I'm not using this. And then the screen itself, I just had a piece of cardboard to make sure that it stayed in place. Other than that, the CRKD joystick is pretty simple. It's just a controller that connects via USB-C to a Nintendo Switch. But what makes it useful for this build is in the back, it does have an output and basically is treated as a Windows controller. But with a Mayflash adapter, which will also be in the links, it can communicate with the PS TV. If I can unhook it. So this little adapter right here, when we set it to X input mode, will let it communicate with the PS TV. Note, you will have to have your PS TV jailbroken for this to work, but there is also a PS3 Mayflash that is offered online. You could use that one as well. So that allows the CRKD to communicate with the PS TV. That's one part right there. Move that out of the way. The Peakdo screen, which is 7 inches and fits in perfectly. It also has the HDMI and the audio all on top. So I didn't need to, unlike my previous video where I said I might have to cut this out, I didn't have to do that. So that was really nice. And last but not least, the PS TV and a very small HDMI cable. I actually didn't know they made them this small until I had to order one. And that just makes sure that the output is going all the way to here. So how I'm charging this, right, this is probably an important piece. Sorry, I don't make many of these videos. This is actually a USB charger for a PSP, and you don't normally have to solder it. I just wanted it shorter, and I'm using that to power the PS TV. And then, of course, all the power for the screen and for the PS TV are running through a battery bank. I just found a small one that could fit in the back. So this can run any system. As long as you have the right adapter, this is not a PS TV XL, even though it is a PS Vita XL, I can hook up my PS3 to this screen. And as long as this Mayflash adapter communicates with the PS3, I can sit down with my PS3 next to my couch and have this running. So I could do Xbox 360, PS5. The sky's really the limit, which is why I really wanted to make this project. And of course, once you have all these pieces together, you'll need to make sure that they fit in the back. Now, how I've done it is not how I recommend people doing it. So I just liked the fact that the screen fit into it like this. I'm wasting a lot of potential space on this device and jamming everything in the back, when what I really could be doing, and what you should be doing, is moving the screen out. Because guess what? The PS TV can fit in here, and having it run in front of the screen, yeah, might get a little bit warm, but if you give it enough space with the 3D printed housing, that'll be fine. And then you just need a thinner battery, and everything could technically exist behind here. You can even cut out the center part that doesn't have any wiring and have the battery exist somewhere in here. So don't do it like how I did it, but I'll show you some gameplay footage of me using this thing. So it runs great. It's a direct connect. There's no lag. This thing is fantastic to use, and I really enjoy it. It's very janky, and the original reason I did it was because I didn't like the size of the buttons on the PS Vita. And I know you're expecting some big reason behind it, but that's really it. Like, the buttons were too small, and I didn't like it. So I was actually looking into buying a DekaVita, and I was like, nah, plus the screen's a little bit old. So I ended up making this horrific thing. And if you look at it side by side with a Vita, you can see the screen is much clearer, it's much bigger. And it is a great little project, but it is ridiculous at its core. And, you know, I was happy to put it together, but it is essentially a very ridiculous project. And that's really it. Like, it makes you really appreciate how much work goes into circuitry, and hopefully with this you'll be able to build it yourself and use the information to make a better version of what I have. That's pretty much it. Good luck, guys.